Welcome back to Caleb's Criterion Corner. And on today's episode, we will be talking about the new A24 horror movie, Bring Her Back. Now, fresh off of their first movie, Talk to Me, the Rocka Brothers have a sophomore film that just came out, Bring Her Back. It hasn't really been getting that much buzz or, like commercial push, but it just came out, and I'm here to say I didn't really like this one. Now, the brothers who directed this are formerly known for being on YouTube, and they had a huge following on that platform. It translated very well when they made Talk to Me, but this movie seems like they didn't have a direction that they really wanted to go besides expressing how far people go when they're grieving someone. And that's not to say that Talk to Me was like the perfect movie, but I guess that one just seems so intentional and, original to a degree that it felt warm and fresh and like a new idea. And this movie just feels like exactly the title. And that's not to say Talk to Me was the perfect horror movie, but it just felt like enough fresh ideas and, camera work involved to feel like it was reaching new territory in the genre, in a sense. So it saddens me to say that this sophomore project does not meet the standards that I was expecting from them or A24 as a whole. And I can admit that some scenes and transitions in this movie felt very eerie and it set the tone perfectly. But overall, the movie doesn't really have a tone that it wants to stay in. And that's a alarming problem. And I think it really suffers from pacing issues because after the first events unfold, it kind of just stays in the same gear the whole movie into the final act. And the final act isn't even all that to begin with. So I don't know how to explain that, but with an hour and 30-minute runtime, I thought it would be a little bit more aggressive in trying to give us a story or at least a narrative to live with. But that's not to say that the actors involved didn't do their jobs. And I like to give a special shout out to Billy Barrett and Jonah Wren Phillips because without you two, this movie would be an absolute dud. I'm sorry. And to get into the story without spoiling too much, we follow the path of two kids, Piper and Andy, their brother and sister. Piper and Andy get adopted by the nice lady Laura. But turns out Laura isn't so nice after all. You see where I'm going with this? Now, this will only be temporary because Andy wants custody in 90 days. So he's making that clear. Piper also has issues seeing, and he knows how to handle her disability. She's essentially blind. And Laura, being a psychiatrist, understands completely and wants to make this transition smooth. They eventually move in and they finally meet their brother Oliver, who's essentially mute the whole time. And their brother is not just a normal brother, he is silent and he also will grab the cat and hold the cat in the middle of the pool. So he's edgy as fuck. As this happens, we eventually see that Laura intends to break up the children by doing everything in her wicked witch ways to manipulate the siblings against each other. Even funny, stupid things like putting her pee on him while he sleeps. But she's had it with his terrible behavior, and Laura kicks him out after her crazy concoctions. And this is when the story unfolds. So she had a daughter that died, and everyone thought that she had just, needed a break and move because she worked at the adoption facility that she adopted these kids from. So no one ever questioned it. Yeah, like that makes no fucking sense. But without any context, she has access to cult tapes, and it's the guide to resurrecting her daughter with the sacrifice and killing the same way. So you have to kill the person the same way. And who's a fucking little girl that's the same age, that's close in proximity? Oh, Piper! Oh my god! So this leaves Oliver in the position of being the vessel that will transport whatever is being transported into the dead body from Piper to her daughter. And in this whole process, I guess when Andy's in the adoption facility again, after getting kicked out, he sees a missing poster for one of the kids who looks exactly like Oliver. Like everything falls into place and it's so funny. And this is like all within 40 minutes. So serious, serious pacing issues. Hmm. And without much more to say about this movie, she stops trying to drown Piper once she calls her mom because we as people go to crazy lengths when we are grieving. And I think this is a sentiment that carries with in, both projects that they've released. And don't get me wrong, the film has some intense, gruesome scenes, but they don't even feel all that bad when reflecting on them. I think it's not enough elements to even make the viewer scared. And the fact that the whole plot is in the title is, well, that's a choice in itself. So I'm gonna give the movie a 2 out of 5. And if you like horror and A24, you should go check it out. But it's not really a movie that you go home and like weep about or tell everyone in the street about. It's pretty normal and it's not scary. So yeah, I'm crossed with this one. But I appreciate you if you checked in. Thanks, and I'll see you later.